Today we'll be talking about Section 53 of Transfer Property Act. Section 53 says about a person defrauding, creating a fraud and seeing that the creditor loses his right. Section 53 speaks about that. We'll take an example to understand this section better. Suppose A has taken loan from B, and in this case A happens to be a debtor and B happens to be a creditor. B has to get back his money from A. In case A transfers his property to C, see that the claim of B is defeated, then law says that B can go to the court and set aside the transaction. That is, B can make the transaction voidable. That is the gist of Section 53 and conferred in Transfer of Property Act. In other words, it protects the right of the creditor. But there is a proviso saying that person who is not aware of the transaction, he buys the property for consideration in good faith, his interest in the property is protected. And no law of insolvency applicable in Section 53. This is the gist of Section 53. Now let us move on to Section 53A, which says part performance of the contract. In a given case, when immovable property is transferred for consideration and the person is put in the possession of the property, or a person may be put in possession, or is already staying in possession of the property, or a part of the property is in possession, and there is a documentation done, even though the documentation not registered before the concerned sub-registrar office, the person is protected by virtue of his possession and he is willing to do a subsequent act, that is other part of the act, which is ready and willing to perform his part of the act, that is registration part of the act, that is he is willing to pay the balance consideration. Suppose if a given case, let us take an example that the property is worth around 1 crore and he has paid a substantial amount of say 50 lakh rupees and he is put in possession of the property. Now the other part of the act is that he has to pay 50 lakh rupees and get the property registered on his name. In such case, the other person, that is a transferee who is already in possession of the property, he has to pay balance amount of 50 lakhs rupees and get the property registered on his name. In such cases also, the person who is in possession of the property, a transferor or any beneficiary person interested in the transferor cannot get the person out of the property. In other words, the transferee is protected in Section 53 by virtue of part performance. But there is again a provision here saying that a person who purchases a property without being aware of the transaction, his interest in the property is protected. By virtue of this, we come to a conclusion of this session, and I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.